Hey, White Sox fans, it's Brett Ballantini hosting Sox Populi podcast 203. Yeah, it's 203. Usually I say 203, but I sound intelligent when I say 203. Um, yeah, this is several days after, of course, it's being posted several days after our Sox Fest podcast. So don't go back and compare the tapes. The gang is back together again. It's Hannah Filippo, Chrystal O'Keefe, and Kristina Airdo joining me to talk about, not even reluctantly, they just showed right up, eager. They didn't even stop in the green room. They just jumped on the podcast. They're not bothering to talk about my Frog and Toad ensemble or my cool, groovy wife's finger watch thing. No, we're just talking White Sox. They're so eager to talk about the White Sox season. That's what we're doing here. Today is a reporting day. If you haven't reported yet, you either have visa problems from another country or, I don't know, problems that we're not aware of. So the entire White Sox, 500 players, however many players, are showing up somewhere in Camelback Ranch, just sprawling all over the place, showing off whether they're buff, whether they got a little bit of a pot they got to work off of. I don't know. That probably doesn't happen anymore. It's not like the old days where they sold insurance all off season. No, they're back. They're working all year round. And we're starting to see early tape of guys, and it's sort of real. So, first question to the three of you is, forgetting even the White Sox, we're going to pretend we're not White Sox fans, and just let's bask in that for about 3-4 seconds. How nice it is to think that this isn't necessarily the team we're following. Let's just pretend we're baseball fans because we are. How does it feel like? Yeah, I mean, it's baseball season is just, we're whatever, 40 days or something to opening day, whatever it is. Just baseball's back. How's it feel?
I often think of the Beatles song "Here Comes the Sun" when I think about baseball
Yeah.
because again it's warming up, the sun is out, and you can finally be happy again after a horrific
Yeah.
winter. Um, and so I just every single time I think about baseball, I think about that song and it
Yeah.
cheers me up.
Yeah. And these days, horrific real life. So it's nice just to get a break from something. And look, it's baseball. Two guys are playing catch. I didn't know that could make me so happy, but yeah, it sort of does. Christina, Hannah,
Yeah, that
feelings.
pretty much sums it up on part of bringing happy. Like I was thinking about this and like I'm very ready for baseball to be back pretty much for all the reasons you stated. I feel like everything is a, for lack of a better word, shit show right now. So like the idea of forgetting who I am and sitting at a baseball game sounds super great. But I'm like honestly counting down the days until the World Baseball Classic starts.
Mm.
Like they announced the schedule today. I'm like, okay, which days do I need to be up at 4 in the morning? Let's get this figured out. I love it. I think it's so cool to see like a lot of MLB team or players that we watch play for their countries and see them play with each other on teams that you would never even imagine them being with. But like, yeah, spring training games this month, like you just said, reporting day today. Um, just chef's kiss.
Mm.
That's really where I'm at. I saw this meme earlier when I was scrolling and it was like I like during the off season, like November, I miss baseball, December, I miss baseball, February, I miss baseball, March, I miss baseball. And then it's like April 1st, this effing umpire. Like
Yeah.
you're already back
Yeah.
into the swing of things. And I can't wait to be mad in the first game of the year and it's gonna be great. I just want to sit in the sun and watch a baseball game, and I'm very excited.
I'm not here to tell you, Christina, who you got to root for in the World Baseball Classic, but if you're basing it on White Sox representation, you got to go Team Italia. You know,
Yeah, I
Antonacci
know. It kind of seems like
and
it.
Teal,
They have a bunch of
Tealini.
like, I feel like there wasn't as many MLB players that played on the Italian team last time, but I'm excited to see them play. I mean, Antonacci is like one of my favorite prospects, and I'm very excited about him. So yeah,
Again,
I will be sat for those games.
I'm not
Or
trying to put my,
or Team England, who rejected Aroldis Chapman and said, "No, you can't play for
oh,
us."
that's right. They did. Yeah.
They were
Yeah. He
right.
thought that was like in the bag, and they're like,
That made me happy too.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
not that
Yeah.
Great Britain is any good at
Again,
baseball,
not trying to put my thumb on the scale here, but just
but they
pointing
do
out.
try, and I appreciate that.
Hey, they're there. That means they made whatever, whatever the cut of 12 or whatever it is. Uh, Hannah, any additional insight to the fact that the sun's out and baseball is being played?
I was so excited. I bought so many tickets. Spent so much money on tickets already. I have plotted out all the games that I know I don't want to miss.
Oh,
And then I've already sent out like texts to friends and family like, tell me which days you want to go to games so we can put it so I can plan it because I want to get the tickets now, or I want to know which games you want to go to in advance so we can know roughly when to buy them based on how well everyone's playing. But I was very excited, and especially after the holidays, there's this just dead period of everything's cold and dark, and now there's something finally to look forward to. So
Oh, I'm
Jer
with you. I also submitted PTO already for opening day in Milwaukee and opening day
oh,
here.
you're gonna be
Back to
in
Thursdays.
Milwaukee?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go.
Okay, I already have tickets to the Thursday and the Saturday.
Yeah, I'm gonna go
I haven't
Thursday and
asked off yet,
Saturday.
but I gotta ask off for those days.
I was like, let me just get this in here. I don't really know how to explain that I'm taking 2 Thursdays off because it's very random. I mean, opening day, I'm taking off Thursday and Friday. Like it's an occasion.
Yeah, it is a holiday. Okay, well, welcome back to Brew Populi. We are here talking Brewers baseball with my good friends, Kristina Airdo, Hannah Filippo, and Chrystal O'Keefe. I just want to point out, Hannah, that your kind word, oh, I guess Christina too. Now it's two. Uh, Jerry's just had people revise his favorite media list. Now, of course, this is how it started. It was blank, and now he has two names on it, Kristina Airdo and Hannah Filippo, because you put your money where your love is, and that is buying tickets. Crystal, you might be on there because you did shell out for VIP
I've I've
and
already
didn't even know
bought.
what you're going to get fed or who you're going to
I did
meet.
that, and I've already bought several
Okay,
tickets.
well then, you love us,
They
White Sox. You know
they
you
put
do.
they gave me emo night and Hello Kitty
Yeah,
Day
it's
right by
true.
my birthday. Of course I'm gonna buy tickets. Are you kidding? Hello Kitty, emo, and baseball, those are my three
Mm,
personality traits.
mm,
Of course I
yep,
was gonna buy tickets
yep,
already.
yep. Maybe we should wind up. We should just wind up Sox Populi and Brew Populi right now because it's not going to get any higher vibe than this. But let's just dig right into it before break, and that is now beyond just baseball. Okay, we've nibbled at the White Sox here, but beyond just baseball. All right, listen. I haven't bought any tickets yet, so I can be the downer. I can be the toad. Three straight 100 loss seasons, worst 3 year stretch in franchise history. Almost certain that this year will make the worst 4 year stretch in White Sox history. So I pose to the three of you what is to look forward to in 2026. Don't all speak at once.
We all got really excited, clearly. Yeah, when you put it that way about the worst streak in history there, I mean, the writing's been on the wall as it is, but I think I was hinting at this too when we were talking about Sox Fest, but just like moving away from that failed rebuild and like the Rick Hahn era that, face planted. I know the bar is pretty much in hell right now, but like so far, at least the last year, Chris Getz has made significant improvement in the moves that he's making. And maybe he's gotten a little more freedom. Can't really tell though, because we probably would have signed someone like an actual MLB veteran.
Real, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I think just overall, the having the young core, being we were talking about it, they're excited, like we're excited. I think it's just like time to turn the page really and like just fully move on from that nightmare that existed. Like it was there, it happened, like there were some fun moments, albeit very few. But and then there were some lows, extremely low, but we are back here. I feel like it's like refreshed and revitalized, hoping to do things a little bit better this time. But we'll see. I would call it cautiously optimistic.
60-second
Very
recaps with a
cautiously.
little bit more up talking, maybe, instead of depressing stats and gloom and just really dark, no lighting.
70 wins this year. That's the projection.
Oh my God. Yeah, it is true, at least according to Pacoda. It's true.
69, whatever it was.
69, yeah. Uh, okay, Sox specific. Crystal, Hannah, give me
Yeah,
something.
I mean, I kind of have the same feelings. And I've said this before on this podcast. They already hit rock bottom. You can't dig yourself any deeper
Yeah.
once you've hit the bottom. And last season was a noticeable improvement.
Yeah.
Still not great, but
Yeah.
a noticeable improvement. And I mean, I guess Andrew Benintendi is still just screwing around with this noodle arm, but we don't really have anybody left from that really negative time
No.
period. We've got young guys. We have like exciting players that were highly sought after. We brought back Eric Fetty, so we have some veteran presence, I guess. Yeah, I mean, it's a tough call on what he's going to do, but I was still excited. I thought it was a good move. I think a lot of people in
Mhm.
Slack thought it was a pretty good move. So if you can't dig yourself any deeper, and last season was an improvement, I have to think that they're just going to continue to feed off of that. And I mean, obviously, I'm not in the clubhouse, but I think the vibes in the clubhouse are really good. I think Will has kind of turned it around, and I don't ever want to give Chris Getz credit, but he deserves a little bit of credit for this offseason in particular. I mean, it again, it got my husband that doesn't care about baseball to be like, oh, okay, that's it. We have to, do you think Chris is good now? And I'm like, no, we're not going
Mhm.
to go that far, but I think he's made a lot of progress. So there's got to just be an upside to when they're so great and then they could be World Series bound in 2027, but there's a lockout.
That we got like a whole obviously we got dozens of podcasts to address the gloom there after the White Sox stirringly run to 81 wins in 2026. So yeah, let's not get ahead of
I
ourselves.
do, I do want to say too, like Crystal was talking about Will Venable, and I honestly feel like he deserves a lot more credit. And like they believe in him. He's younger. I think that he understands them. He's been a player, and he just has that fresh perspective. Like, I mean, it's a completely different team than when they were under Pedro Grifol. Like that was a fever dream. But Will Venable seems like the right guy for those guys. And like just talking to Miguel Vargas, he's like, I was in Miami, but I was practicing and like training all off season. And he was like, I just want to like get back with them. And he said some of the other guys joined him here and there. So he's just been working on his main thing was being more consistent. And he and like three other players said the same thing to us. So like that's really what it is. Like if they could be consistent, then you have a pretty good team.
I mean, Miguel, you
I
should
love
be
him. He was great.
good, good. But Miguel, chess aside, you can take a chess break, but you should be working. You've had like a month of a career, but hey, great things in 2026, no sweat. And hey, credit to the White Sox, credit to them. Oh boy, is he going to hit him with something now? I mean, listen, they made a very, very clear, I think this is Crystal's point, low point. You lose 121 games. There's no debate when you hit rock bottom. Let's hope, at least, let's hope there isn't. Oh, I don't know. We might get that in the second half in the podcast. But Hannah, White Sox specific. Excited?
I'm cautiously optimistic. Only, oh, well,
Wise.
I think of how Baltimore had a 16,
Mm,
they got worse by 16 games overnight, basically.
yeah.
But at the same time, seeing the 175 games last year, I mean, I'd take 75 wins for the Sox. I'd happily
Yeah.
take that. That'd be great. So seeing as how, like Krista said, it's not going to get much, it can't possibly get much worse. And I don't think they're going to allow it to get much worse anyway. I'm cautiously optimistic. Mainly on the bullpen side, honestly, I'm kind of curious to see what the outfield situation is going to be. I think that's the part that worries me the most. But the bullpen it was noticeably improved, and I don't think they're going to blow it nearly as many games as they did last year.
Mhm. It's nice, Hannah, that you say they're not going to allow it to get that bad again. But listen, they're not going to have any choice. They go into free fall. There's nobody, to trade, to pawn off. I mean, I guess you could start dipping into the youth, but if they're in a position where they're free falling, well, suddenly Kyle Teal's not going to have much value aside from in Chrystal O'Keefe's heart. And Miguel Vargas on heavy value. Colson Montgomery not going to have any value if things go really, really south. But let's not talk about that at least yet. Let's take a break. We'll talk more about the White Sox. Come on, we're happy. The crack of bats, the smack of gloves, podcasts together with our friends. We'll be back to do more podcasting with you, our friends out there in podcast land. Give us a minute. We'll be back. White Sox fans, my name is Brett Ballantini, hosting Sox Populi, aka Brew Populi. 203. We are happy that baseball is back. Spring has sprung. Even White Sox fans are happy, and there's reason for it. I think at least a couple of my esteemed guests here have even credited Chris Getz with doing a good job this offseason. So listen, man, the vibes are high. Real high. Okay. As we move on, how much better do you think the White Sox can be? Hannah, before the break, of course, you're listening to the first half. Why would you come in the second half? The first half, just mere minutes ago, said, if the White Sox won 75 games, she'd be pretty happy, like Baltimore did in their disappointing season. All relative, huh? White Sox would be so happy to get to 75. And Baltimore thinks they might as well just disband the team because they fell to 75 in a season that some were picking them for the World Series. And I got to say, if the White Sox won 75 games, looks like we won the World Series. If they won 75 games, man, these podcasts, Jerry, you're going to want to tune in because it's going to be happy times you win 75 games this year. But really, we feel better. I think it's universal that we feel the team is better. As much as I want to diss Chris Getz, the team's improved, if only from the inertia of the youth movement, okay? Maybe not a lot of reinforcements necessarily from the minors this year. I mean, we'll see. There's a lot of talk, but last year Noah Schultz was supposed to be pitching in the majors. So, let's just tap the brakes on that. There may not be any real reinforcements coming in from the minors this year. So with this team, we all feel it's going to be better, and I don't think that's unfounded. How much better do you think this team can be? It's a 60-win team a year ago. Second half, they played 70-win pace ball. They have added to the team. It seems like more than subtracted, although that can be debated. So really, I'm going to pose it to the three of you. How much better can this team be? And how much better do you think it will be?
I think they can be better for sure. I think they're going to be better than last year. I mean, I hope so. I would say like they've at least some of the guys that already been called up, like they got used to playing up in the majors a little bit more. I think they'll be able to settle in. How much better? I don't know. I mean, like you said, 75 wins would be great. Like, what's their ceiling? I have no idea. I mean, like in theory, anything's possible. We saw the Reds stumble into the playoffs when nobody's like they didn't belong there, but they were there. So like stuff like that. Do I think they're going to stumble into the playoffs? Absolutely not. But like I think that they'll probably be marginally better, at least in the win column. From Hannah called out the bullpen. I think the bullpen will be a little bit stronger. I think it's really good. Some of the additions we made, and also just some of these guys working more in the offseason, trying to get more consistent. I am a little worried about the outfield. I mean, like, I think that for sure is probably worse than last year already because you had, Luis Robert Jr., who is basically a superstar outfielder defensively as well. So now we're going to, someone who has played the infield mostly, Brooks Baldwin, and then Andrew Benintendi, who probably throws as hard as some of my friends. So yeah, I'm worried about, I think where we're going to be better. I think that overall the vibes are going to be better. And I think that the pitching will be better. The defense, I'm afraid.
Yeah, reality check.
Not the infield as much, but I'm afraid.
Reality check about how excited, how carried away we can get when, as Kristina just admitted, this is the type of insightful analysis you get by listening to Sox Populi people. It was a bad outfield last year, and this outfield is worse. Now, it could be better. There's possibility. Rolling snake eyes or whatever, but come on.
Bring Adam Engel back, please.
Andrew, yeah, really. A roar of approval.
Like Andrew Benintendi just wants to be the DH, but he's forced to still play the outfield and be the poor at it.
And then he's reminded you have to be the
And he has to
DH.
throw
So
it home
whoops.
and
I was
everything's
about to say, you got to hit the ball in order to be a DH, or you're kind of useless.
Hey, before Hannah and Crystal, you weigh in on this, I want to cut in and say there still seems to be prevailing. Now we've seen Pacoda picking the White Sox at 69 wins. I can't do the math fast enough to know how many losses that is. Obviously not 100. Um, we're all thinking the team is going to be better. Even I, very, very dour and cynical and grizzled White Sox fan as I am, thinks they'll be better. There's a lot of sentiment out there, and it's not just national people wanting to use, the White Sox as a pot shot, which, by the way, White Sox deserved. Um, for like 100, like it's well, not a given, but it's pretty likely this is a high 90s or 100 loss team, and that's even prevailing to some degree. Maybe not in the climes of Sox Fest, but among Sox fans, among a decent amount of our readership. So I just want a little quick reaction here. Does that surprise you that we seem to be still somewhat tethered expectation-wise to 100 losses when it does seem like we have, scary to say turn the page because they just lost 100, but it seems like we've turned a page past that. Is that surprising, or is it more like, well, what you done for me lightly, prove it?
my one thought on it is that, like I said before, the bar was in hell. So like, yeah, they might lose 100 games, but basically the bar is don't do that. So like if they don't, it's pretty much a success, I think, in most people's eyes. Hitting the Picota standings would be like, let's throw a massive party.
Well, White Sox, we're always giving you freebies, and here's another pocket schedule title. White Sox baseball 2026. The bar is don't lose 100 games. That one is going to get picked up like hotcakes at liquor stores all throughout Chicagoland. Crystal, Hannah, surprising that we still seem, even as a fan base, pretty tethered to 100 losses, even though it seems like at least the Southside Sox, the editorial board is, happily moving on from that.
My positive spin on this is that I think they could win 75 games. And I think that if they end up in just a high 80s loss, I mean, I know, Christina just said, don't lose 100 and we'll party, but like, don't lose 80. I feel like that, or don't lose like 90. I feel like that's kind of the bar that they should aim for. If they win 75 games, I'm going to be thrilled. Do you know how many tickets I'll buy for the
Oh,
2028 season?
so,
Because 2027 won't happen. But like, I think they can do it because, yeah, the outfield's really, really bad, but the pitching's going to be great, I think. And again, I go back to Fetty. I think him coming back is going to help even just a little bit. So I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm just too optimistic, which is weird because I'm never optimistic about anything in my life. But I think that I
thus the emo night you're attending. Yeah,
yeah, I mean,
gotcha.
emo night. I'm very pumped about that. But I don't know. I just don't think they're going to be as bad as even people kind of project. And I think there's just been such a dark cloud that's loomed over this franchise for the last decade, really. I mean, yeah, they had like 2 good years, but I think a lot of people are still just kind of stuck under that dark cloud, and I think I've kind of moved away from it. And I'm just like, no, I think we're going to win 75 games and it's going to be fun.
Before you get to address this, Hannah, let's address. It's been a long time since I've shouted out pet cameos. Lord knows Willow is the king of that. But I mean, come on, we got to shout it out to the top hat free Reginald the Cat making first podcast appearance. Nicely done. Still Reginald, or did Reginald not win out?
Reginald did not win out because he's not quite as smart as Reginald should be. So so this is Bruno.
Bruno! Yeah, no, yeah, Bruno. Yeah. No top hat for
You can kind
Bruno.
of see the two brain cells working in
Yeah.
high gear, but not clicking.
I gotta say, Anna, I think Bruno is gonna wear his tee, and I think he's gonna be rooting for Team Italia come WBC. So all right, your thoughts, Hannah, on 100 losses seems to be a prevailing vibe out there, and I know we have this dead eye stare. We have the 10,000 mile stare of like, holy cow, have you been a fan of this team for 3 years? So I get how we're all still just shell shocked, but still a little surprising that's a prevailing notion among fans nationally.
I'm not surprised at it just because of how quickly things can get bad and did get bad for the team. But I think being two wins away from beating that last year, I think it's safe to turn that corner. But I don't look down on fans for being very concerned and doubtful that there won't be a fourth straight season of 100 losses. I don't think it'll get to that point. I think ceiling wise, honestly, I think 500 is their ceiling.
Sure. Sure. I mean, in this division, I mean, we saw the Pagoda, and that tends to sort of like blur the edges. It seems I'm not an expert on any of this stuff, but man, AL Central, if it plays out close to that, I mean, we already know the division is sort of god awful, but yikes. I mean, I don't know. If I'm a Detroit fan, I'm like, hold on, we're supposed to win like whatever it is, 83 games. How are we winning 83 games? But that aside, they managed to fall back to the pack last year.
I mean, the only
Sorry,
good thing the
Detroit.
Twins got this year is Grady Sizemore on their coaching staff.
No
And
kidding.
Liam
So,
Hendricks.
well, yeah, but
Yeah, yeah. It pales in comparison, Kristina. Come on. And you know that's going to translate. That's at least that's 2 wins. That's a 2 WAR acquisition. Just in handsomeness. Come on. But still, they need more than a 2 WAR addition. Your point is salient, Crystal, in that people are. I think I brought this up to the rest of the staff. I saw somebody power rankings or whatever, like Minnesota's 18th. Like, how in the world are the Minnesota Twins in the middle of the pack in Major League Baseball? Well, not AL Central power ratings. Major League Baseball power ratings are close to the middle of the pack. They were worse than the White Sox. I'm not saying that's going to sustain it this year, but I think it's going to sustain it this year. I think we're a fourth place team this year. That doesn't mean we're not going to lose 100. It just means the Twins are the Twins. I mean, sorry, Grady. Grady's taking his path to getting to be a manager again. Again, he's got the handsome war working for him. So, okay. Well, I sort of cut off. I mean, maybe you've already answered this, or I injected that 100 loss thing because when a thought pops in my head, I've got to interrupt everybody. But Crystal, Hannah, realistically, I guess Crystal, you did just answer that you thought the cap was 75. Wait a minute. I'm not trying to call anybody out. Who just said that 500 is the
I
best
did.
case? Hannah, you're usually a little more grounded than that. But again, in this division,
we love a positive queen here.
yeah, no kidding. Yeah,
Hey, it's easier to be
positive.
positive when they haven't thrown a pin yet.
They're tied for first for sure. If the season ended today, they'd be in the playoff tiebreaker. White Sox don't play. Yeah, I was going to point out when Crystal, when you mentioned if the White Sox win 75 games, you're going to you don't even know how many tickets you're going to buy. I have to say on Jerry's list, and again, it's still just 3 members, and they're all Southside Sox. You're welcome, White Sox. I think you just leapfrogged these other 2 on this podcast to #1 because
I don't know that I want to be #1 on Jerry's list, though, if we're being totally honest.
Yeah, that's fair. And plus, it's not going to get you that yoga instructor job that has been like bandied about and rumored for like what 6 years now, etc. So
It depends, is the list good or bad?
yeah, right. Well, yeah. Um, not to end on this sort of note because we can spin this one positively, but of course, I've got a issue leading questions that skew negative as well. Obviously, things can turn south too. What is one thing that you sense could torpedo this team and really make going for 70. Let's not even say they're going to be a 100-loss team. I'm not even sure that's possible, and how in the world I'm saying that of all people, but I don't really think that's too realistic in the range. Sorry, Pacoda. But what's the Achilles heel of this team as we're starting spring training? We haven't seen anybody playing yet. We're presuming a lot of good things are going to happen, and we don't know that for sure either. But what's one thing on this team that could really make getting to 70 wins a struggle?
Everybody breaks their hamate
Yeah,
bone.
yeah. I mean, way to go, White Sox. You haven't done it yet.
That seems like the new,
Yeah.
like tearing your
Mhm.
whatever it was, hamstring. That's the new hamstring injury. So everybody just breaking that bone, I guess.
Yeah. Stay intact. Take batting practice with caution, not
I was about to,
abandon.
I was about to say everybody needing Tommy John again.
Yeah. I mean, it's like that can't happen. I guess it can happen again. It just means everybody who just had it, if they get it again, they're retired then. I mean, not too many guys come back, although I think Giolito's one, having it twice, but yeah, I mean, that would wrap up careers pretty easily. Yeah, let's hope I mean, I think we'd even take some broken hands over that but the good news is they're all coming back this year. So, mm, robust
If,
pitching
if they
depth.
if they swap out basically their entire rotation and Sean Burke and Davis Martin and Shane Smith all need Tommy John, I don't see things going very well.
All right, let's not speak that into existence. And because the good news is these days, I mean, this is a team. I mean, if we're even talking about Eric Fetty, and hey, as far as we know, I don't remember. I think he just retired for like a year because when the White Sox traded him at the trade deadline, he was kicking ass for the White Sox. So we got ourselves like a star pitcher back. But I mean, he's not even, obviously he's not counted on. He's getting like actual money. He's probably like the third highest paid pitcher on the team. But that has to do with, I don't know, ownership, not exactly skill level per se, and sort of the way baseball works. Oh gosh, no previews of all our 2027 podcasts and Kristina Airdo's return to the labor beat. She doesn't want to do that. Don't make her do that. She's not doing it. Labor beat, there's not going to be a labor. You cannot do that to her. But Kristina, you do get to answer. What is the Achilles heel of this team that could make it a struggle to win
I
70?
think the offense clicking, like I feel like last year it happened a lot where there was guys that were streaky at different times, not necessarily all together. There was like a few weeks period where everyone was just like playing well in general, but for everyone doing that at the same time, I think that'll take a lot. And then obviously the outfield, I already talked about that, but I think that's going to be a big like stickler, and not having strong defense and everything out there. I mean, you're probably already setting yourself up to give up runs that you shouldn't be, but what are you going to do? I've seen people calling to sign Nick Castellanos, but I don't think that's
He
necessary.
likes to party. Let's bring him in.
Yeah, right. But yeah, I think that just consistency and the outfield.
This and you're alluding to it, Christina, but this defense. This
Yeah.
defense is going to be rough. And it's great. We can say like the pitching's going to be better and stuff. Well, that's sort of tied in, and especially young pitchers, because see guys fumbling baseballs, guys not getting to baseballs in the outfield, maybe even some drops at first base, well, third base, anywhere. Catching defense isn't even necessarily resolved. I mean, I think we got two guns, but that's just part of it. You do have to keep the ball in front of you, and they did not do that last year. That could be brutal. I mean, offense aside, the defense might be like, what is going? I mean, hopefully not too many steps back, but it seems almost assuredly they're going to take like a step back defensively just because of some of the offense, I guess they've injected, but you know, at a cost. So, I
Yeah.
mean, let's hope that's not a domino effect with the pitching and oh man.
Yeah, I know. And last year, I feel like the defense was obviously a big problem, but then also the relievers were like giving up runs and like giving up the leads and stuff. Like those one run games are killers. So that's what I don't want to see. And I am like hoping that defense isn't the cause of that. And I'm really hoping we're not seeing Jordan Leisure do this every couple days this year. I think I
Yeah.
have hope for him, but yeah.
Just to pick something else, because I don't want to just say, yeah, what they said, because I have insight. Venable. I mean, people are very positive about Venable, and he's a I won't say rah-rah guy. That's dismissive, but he's got that youngish demeanor. Um, well, he is youngish for a manager. He's a young guy. But man, when your Pythagorean is like 10, 12 wins better than what your I mean, it's just bad luck, bad vibes. I mean, if anything, because he's bringing that positivity, this is like a Ricky Renneria thing. I mean, just is bringing this positivity to the clubhouse that you'd think would be turning things more in your favor than not, because guys are caring. They're not just looking at their shoegazing and not caring. So that weirdness of last season, though it was such an improvement, and let's face it, is a huge improvement in wins, but the fact that they still found a way to lose us, you say, oh, it's the bullpen, it's the defense, or they couldn't hit for at least half the year, young team, all those things are factors, but he's the guy running it. If you're going to credit like Ozzie for creating magic in 2005, even though he did nothing. I don't know. It depends on how important you think a manager's role is in the game, but it seemed like, and it was connected to some decisions made. He had some consistent sort of like traits that were maybe a little bit questionable, like constantly bringing the infield in like with one out in the first inning. But I get it because the team couldn't score for half the year. There's some stuff there. I mean, you almost sort of got to work to have lost 100 games last year, because it shouldn't have lost 100 games last year just based on run score, run prevention, et cetera. So I think there's a little trial. I mean, as much as everybody loves him, and it's like, it's not conceivable he could be fired, this year. And I'm not necessarily saying that, but I think this is going to be, is his trajectory up or down? And I don't know that it's a guaranteed, up, despite how personable he is, despite how he's so, he's an anti-Pedro, anti-Tony, anti-Robin. Boy, you see a trend here? Anti-Jerry, anti-Getz. Well, I don't know, maybe he's joined at the hip with Getz. Oh, I don't know. I hope not. Sever that. But to me, it's like, okay, let's see what he's made of, especially now he's got a year under him. So I mean, okay, now this is time, opposite of sophomore slump. Let's create some wins out of these games that were in question, because I think almost universally last year, games that were in question, loss. And of course it's the players, but there's a guy scribbling names in the lineup card. There's a guy making calls with the pen. So anyhow, Will, we're rooting for you. Okay, White Sox fans, thanks for tuning in to us once again. It seems like it's inevitable we'll be having more podcasts. Don't ask me how. I'm not looking at a schedule, but it just seems like it's going to happen. So stay tuned soon. Kristina will be with you again soon. Hannah will be with you again soon. Of course, Chrystal, in between games, Chrystal will be with you again soon. And maybe Bruno will be with you again soon. We can hope. Take care until then, but we'll be back, as always, sooner than you're ready for us.